Hello, everybody. Welcome to the VR Gaming Podcast. This is episode, is it 43? I think it's 43.
Who knows?
We didn't record last month because basically we didn't have anything to play. So we've now got quite a large amount to talk about.
I don't know if any of them are very good. Do you think there were any good games released
I don't know.
recently?
You've got a list of stuff I don't even know. Half of these games, I don't know what you've been playing. You've been going into the basement trying to find this sort of stuff.
Yeah, I bought a bunch of crap. Some stuff was okay. A lot, varied results.
I'm sure we'll find out anyway.
Yeah. So.
And thank you to the dickheads listening as well. We appreciate you.
Yes, and for this one, we're going to be recording this through OBS, which we weren't doing before, and we're going to have trailers and videos for all of these games. So yeah, you're probably going to want to go to YouTube and subscribe there and watch there, because there's an audio-only version, but you can also watch it on YouTube and get actual video this time.
Yep, that sounds good to me.
Yeah, so I guess we'll start with a non-VR game. I finally beat Tears of the Kingdom. I talked about it last time. I'm showing a video here where people are just building crazy contraptions. In this game, one of the things they changed from Breath of the Wild is that you could build crazy contraptions. Like this guy right here built this mech. I never tried to build anything crazy like that. I built some very simple like flying machines and stuff. Some people have built also, like this flying machine here can like shoot lasers at enemies and all sorts of crazy shit. You see these little battery icons?
Yeah.
So when you're earlier in the game, you only have like one or two of these. So any machine that you build, it runs out of batteries so fast that I felt like it wasn't even worth bothering. To get a lot of batteries, you need to like play the game for a lot of hours and go into the depths. So underneath this main map here, there's this really dark area called the depths, and it's as large as the entire regular overworld map. But the problem with it is it's extremely boring. Like pretty much everywhere you go, you just see the same thing everywhere, and it's so dark that you can't even see where the fuck you're going. And then the other thing that's different about this from Breath of the Wild is in the sky, there are sky islands. And at first they seem really cool because you have to get launched up into the air to even get up there and float around in your paraglider. But then you quickly realize all these islands are pretty much just copy pasted. They're just all the same thing over and over again, pretty much. So I got pretty sick of this game. I was just happy it was over with at like 100 hours, and I had to do so much grinding. I did so much grinding to get like strong armor. Because I heard that the final boss was like really hard to beat, but once I got to him, it was like one of the easiest boss battles I've ever had.
Right, you probably already ground up quite high then.
Yeah, and I think I was just kind of sick of video games at that point. After that, I didn't play anything for weeks. So that's another reason I didn't have much to talk about last month. I just was video gamed out from that playing this. Yeah. So, should I go into my first VR game, or do you want to go?
Yeah, just go, because you've got loads.
I'll just go. All right. So, my first VR game I'm talking... So, Pixel Ripped, 1978. So, the original, 1989, and then 1995, I was a big fan of those. 1995 was probably the best one. But so, 1978 was coming out, and I was really excited. So, you're an Atari game dev in this. And you're sitting at your desk, and you work with these other people in this office. And while you're playing the game, so you're going to play 2D, mostly like 2D platformers, like you're seeing right now on screen, if you're watching on YouTube. And you're testing them for bugs and stuff. And then you can see right now, if you're looking on the video, there's some 3D FPS levels too. So it kind of switches back and forth between the side-scroller Atari game and then the 3D FPS. So the side-scroller stuff I thought was pretty good. I like platformers. It was okay. But this this 3D FPS stuff, I hated it. It was so just basic and just not fun at all. I can't even really describe it. Like, I don't know, like enemies would keep respawning. Like you kill some enemies and then you're kind of, I guess that's kind of like how a lot of NES games would be, where you kill an enemy and then you go a few pixels over and you go back and then the enemy respawns. But that was happening in the 3D FPS world. And so there, I don't know, there'd be places where you'd have to use a special ability you just got to unlock a path that was blocked. And all right, what you just saw, putting a mask on your face. So when you're in the office, I know I'm kind of all over the place with this. In the office, you're playing the game, but you keep getting interrupted. So a guy will come up and go, "Hey, we're celebrating Halloween. Put on the mask." And if you don't put the mask on your face, the dude will like unplug your computer, and then you have to start what you were doing all over again. A girl will come up and she's drinking a beer, and she's like, "Hey, join the party." And if you don't drink the beer she hands you, she'll pull your plug. Then a guy will throw a football, and if you don't throw the football back at him, he'll like throw a football at your computer and damage it or something. Then while that's happening, your phone keeps ringing. So you keep getting phone calls constantly. So I was just getting so annoyed. That red phone that you're seeing right now. And a bunch of actually YouTubers, like VR YouTubers, were some of the phone calls. Like Nathy and Gamertag might have been one, and some others. There's a bunch that I didn't recognize. They keep calling, and I kept hearing a lot of the same phone calls over and over again, but I think they might have patched that to fix it.
Right.
But I got to a point in one of those 3D levels where I couldn't figure out what they wanted me to do to progress, and I just said, all right, I don't even want to. Normally I'm really persistent in games, and I'll you know me, I'll keep going, banging my head against the wall, and I have no desire to go back to this. And yeah, from what I saw of reviews, a lot of the reviews, weren't too great. So you played 89 and 95 or just 89?
I tried. The first one was the Game Boy one. I didn't try that much because I don't like the old. Those games were a bit too old for me.
Mm-hmm.
I did try. What was it? 1995
95.
was it? Yeah, I played most of that, I think. And that was kind of like I liked it, but it just felt like the games they were doing lots of little games that were obviously based on real world games, but they were kind of just like okay versions of the real world games. So you were just playing little bits of average kind of retro games, really, with this kind of 3D world and VRness added into it. This one looks like it's just going. I feel like they're trying to do a bit too much, and they've not been able to pull it off. Like they've tried to step it up with the whole 3D world and everything, and I think they've probably just not been able to get that balance right and get it so it's fun.
That reminds me of what you said about Lawn in your last video. I think it was your last video, where they tried to do too much, and it makes the game worse.
Yeah, it's like developers need to understand obviously the scope that they can achieve, and sometimes you get a bit too over the top with adding features and things, and it ends up detracting from the overall game rather than adding to it. So I've not played it. Obviously, I'm just basing it on what you've said, but that's what I felt like. That's what was happening with this one.
Yeah, I don't know how many more levels there are after where I got. So there was this like Bentley Bear level, and Bentley Bear, he's from Crystal Castles. And then there's a Fast Freddy level that's from Food Fight, I think. And I don't know how many more games. Like, I don't know why. Like, so in the game, you see real Atari games and Atari game artwork, but then the games that you play they like rename them to something different. I don't know if that
Maybe
was
they
like
couldn't get the rights to them.
Yeah, but like they had all the visual rights, so like they had posters of the real arcade games on the walls and stuff.
Right.
So I'm not sure how that works.
It was weird because if they're owned by Atari, because this is an Atari official
Atari sponsored
game,
it. Yeah,
you'd think that they would be able to get the real games in there and just have them like. I guess I don't know. It's weird Because then you're basically playing just real old games, retro games, and mixed in with this kind of VR stuff. Maybe they wanted to just make new games. I don't know.
Yeah, and so I've been a tester for Arvory. Arvory is the company that did this, and I tested Yuki.
Yeah,
Um, I didn't hear like I heard about testing for this game like almost right when release was about to happen. Whereas with Yuki,
right.
it was months and months and months ahead, way before release that I was testing. So maybe they just needed to do some more testing of this game. I don't know. Maybe it was a rush thing. Maybe they were rushed by
Yeah,
Atari.
I
Who
mean,
knows? Yeah.
it just seems that a lot more complex. I think
Yeah.
they probably needed to test this really early on to get the balance right. And if they've done it too late, and to make any changes, you'd have to change so much of the game at that point. So they probably couldn't really, even if you gave them the feedback,
Yeah.
probably wouldn't be able to fix it without completely redoing a lot of the game. So
Yeah. So I didn't play that. I don't know how many hours I might have played. I don't know, at least 2 hours, maybe more. Um, I don't know, nothing else to say about it. So you want to go to your next one?
yeah. So our first game on my list is Electronauts, which I've been messing around with. Because I like co-op stuff. Because me and Josh and you sometimes play co-op stuff, and I remembered that this is co-op, so you can do two-player co-op. So me and Josh gave it a go. Have you played Electronauts before?
I bought it when it came out, played it a little bit once, and refunded it.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if it's going to be your sort of thing. It's not really a game. It's kind of you're making music, but you're not making music. You get I think it's like 60 songs, and they're all pre-made actual songs. But then you get the option, well, you get the flexibility to remix them effectively. So it's like a jam session where you're changing the drop when we bring parts of the track in. You can change loops, and you can hit these orbs, and as the orbs get hit, they make different sounds. So you can really mix it up and change the song to something different to your own kind of version of it. You
Were
can
you
loop.
sorry, were you ever like into like DJ stuff when you were younger or anything like that?
No, but I do like messing around with music because I don't know. There's something really creative about it. It just makes you feel like this has got a nice balance between it does enough to make everything sound good, but you still feel like you've got full control because it's like is it quantization or something? I can't remember how to say it, but it's like keeping things on the beat. So as you hit the orbs, it'll make sure it's on the beat and stuff. Yeah, it's pretty good, but it's I don't know. It's one of them things I don't think not everyone's gonna like it, and then obviously you didn't like it.
Yeah.
The music's mostly like dance music or trance music, so that sort of
I
stuff.
don't like that kind of music either.
I don't normally, but for some reason I just got into it, and me and Josh were playing it, and we're having a really good time, like just jamming out. Really, it's better with the problem I've got with it mainly is that you can do these loops. So you've got these orbs, you can hit them in obviously different orders and create beats, but you can only loop one bar, so you can only create one bar which constantly repeats over and over. You can't like do a longer like 2 or 3 bars where you could have it pause and then come bring the beat back in and stuff. So it's a bit restrictive in that way. So when you've got two people, it helps because you can be making a beat just manually, and then they can be making their own beat manually, and you can kind of just play around with it with that. Definitely something that's fun to play, and it's a bit of a time sink. It's got that one more go type of thing, but
Did you and
yeah.
Josh dance on each other or grind on each other while you played?
No, no.
That's half the
You're in
fun,
like
isn't it?
you're on like separate places. You're not next to each other. So like you
Oh,
can look over
that's
and
a shame.
you've got your own station, and like you've got your own loop station and everything, and you can mess around separately, but you can kind of look over and see each other. Yeah, it's fun. If you, I mean, it's one of the things you're going to either look at and think, I might be interested in that, or you're just not going to be interested in it. So have
I
a
would
look
have
at it,
been
see what you
interested
think.
if I could get in there and watch you guys dance together.
Well, Maybe we just do VR chat. We can just get into VR chat and dance together if you want to do that. You know what I mean? Get some sort of anime chick and go into a strip club. I'm sure there is some, and if that's your thing,
I went to VR
I don't
chat
mind perform.
once, and I was
Yeah, I've never
horrified by
done
what
it.
I saw. But yeah, I mean, I'll try it again. That was years ago, so
I've never tried it.
mm.
Never tried it.
it was
But yeah, I'm not.
it was a cesspool when I went. It was terrible.
That's what I expected. Just people screaming at you and just not really having conversations. It's just a lot of kids.
Yeah.
Not really for me.
Yeah, someone could be dressed up as a sexy woman, and then it's a small child. That's just I can't deal with that,
Or a guy.
or
Yeah.
a guy. But yeah, I don't
Yeah,
understand.
there's something really weird about it. I think just the way you can have literally children in there, and obviously there's no filter or anything. People
Yeah,
can talk about whatever they want, say whatever they want, and parents are okay for the kids to just go in there and listen to full-on adult conversations. It's just kind of a bit weird to me,
yeah.
that whole vibe. Um, Not for me.
All right. So you want to go to the next one?
Yeah,
All right. So I played T for God. That's a new release. I guess it came out. Did it come out in August or July? I don't remember. So this is a video.
recent.
Yeah, this is a video of me in my room. This is on my channel, Mame Fan on YouTube. So this is the last video I uploaded. So it's me in my room because this is a room scale VR game. This came out like as a demo years ago, and I played it then, and it's finally had a 1.0 release. It's on Steam. I assume it's on Quest. Maybe it's on App Lab or something.
Yeah,
And so you can play with an analog stick because some people aren't going to have enough space. So
right.
there are tons of options. I think you could do teleport or you could do free locomotion. But I'm playing it in this video, full room scale. So just you walk around, and this is called like a non-Euclidean space kind of game, which means it's like impossible geometry. It's so you could turn a corner, and then on the other side is like a room that wouldn't have possibly fit in real life. But that's how they're getting around the fact that you have a limited play space.
Yeah,
So that's the coolest thing about this is that it's like the game Eye of the Temple. That's another 100% room scale game that I would 100% recommend. That's the
yeah,
best 100% room scale game I ever played. Another one is Unseen Diplomacy that came out in 2016. That one's pretty basic. This there's a lot more going on here in this game, but as you can see from the video, the graphics are very basic. So a lot of times I'm walking around and I can barely even tell what I'm looking at because like so many of the walls are just like the same very drab texture. It's like, for example, Compound is a very basic looking game, but to me the graphics are way better because Compound is way more colorful and vibrant. But there are sections like you might be seeing in the video right now where you come outside. And like whenever I came outside, I was like, oh, thank God, something different. I played for only an hour and a half, but I read some reviews on Steam where they were saying they took them 12 hours to beat the game. So I don't know how much different it gets, but there are sections, most of what I played, I'm walking through corridors, walking around in my room, and you have a gun on each hand, but you can swap them out. But when you look at the guns, there's like a whole wall of text. And I was just like, what does all this shit mean? I guess it was trying to tell me the stats of all the guns and everything. And okay, so you go through and you have to get health. There are little stations where it charges up your health, and there's also stations where it charges up your energy, which is what you use for your ammo. So you run out of ammo. I kept running out of ammo, but luckily once you're out of ammo, you can use your fists or you can pistol whip with a gun to kill the enemies. And there were scenes where my head out of nowhere turned into a sentry gun, and I'm shooting at like flying enemies. So that happened occasionally. Then there are little puzzle sections, like where you have to turn dials and move levers. You know the type of puzzle where you have to get these lines like lined up.
Right.
Like I don't know. Yeah, Resident Evil had stuff like that, where
Right.
you know what I'm talking about. I don't know what you would call that, where it's like multiple amounts of liquid need to come like up to the same level, those type of things.
Oh, right.
What is that
Yeah, so you've got to
called?
like I don't know what this name of it. It's like distributing
Yeah,
out equally, but you've got to figure out how to like transfer it over and get it so it's equal.
yeah,
I know kind of what you mean. Yeah.
yeah. And what else is there to say? I mean, there were some rooms I walked in and it was like really really huge scale, so you'd be like, whoa, that's really cool. But from what I played, I felt like those were kind of few and far between, and I was mostly just kind of walking through boring corridors. Maybe it gets way better, but for $20, even said during my video, I was like, for $20, I don't know about this game. But maybe I didn't give it enough of a chance. I don't know. What am I doing here in the options? Oh, I'll tell you why I was in here, because the gun angle was bad for my index controller.
Right.
So I was in here. I had to adjust the pitch to make
Right.
it, because I was having to bend my hand in an odd
Yeah.
way to make it work well. I don't know. Do you have any questions about it?
I did try this a while ago on because it's been free for a while, like as an early access thing on the Quest. So when I got my Quest, because obviously it's wireless, I thought, oh, I'll give this a try. And even with not a small room, but not a massive room, you were just kind of just walking around in like tight circles through these corridors, and it just didn't feel particularly like fun to me. Like I like the Eye of the Temple because you feel like you're traveling over these large expanses,
Mm-hmm.
but it's doing it in a way that obviously with you're standing on blocks and the blocks take you places, or you have to do like the walk backwards to do the roller thing. I found they found a more interesting way you to use like a small space, but you feel like you're traveling over like a really long distance. Whereas this feels like I'm just walking around in circles in my room,
Yep.
and it's just changing the. There's only so like if you're in a big area, there's no way they can do big areas where you're walking, because how can they hide the trick of you're basically just walking around in circles, and that's why they've got these corridors that kind of just twist. And you never go down a straight corridor really, because they have to keep turning you just to hide the fact that it's all
Yeah.
getting drawn out. And yeah, I like the idea of it, but I just don't know how they could ever pull something like this off in a way that's going to be interesting, other than like what Eye of the Temple did with like conveyor belts and blocks and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. When I was playing this, I did say in Eye of the Temple, yeah, they had those cylinders that you walk on, and that's how they fixed that, just like you said, that problem.
Because you're walking backwards in real life, but you're
Yeah.
actually going forwards in the game. So
Exactly.
it's a really clever way of doing it. But even that, I found that it does obviously get repetitive after a while, because you are just there's only so many tricks they can use, so you're basically just doing the same tricks over and over.
Yeah.
But it's way more interesting than this for me personally, than just this constantly walking in tight circles in these drab corridors that are uninteresting.
Yeah. It's lots of browns and grays, but like you're
The
seeing
only
right.
how can they even switch it up even anyway? I mean, all they're gonna do is just change the color of the corridors. I
Yeah.
mean,
You get a blue corridor or a
yeah,
green corridor.
it's the corridors that do the thing where as you go around in a circle, the corridor kind of keeps interlinking, so it feels like you're constantly walking. And it's changing obviously the scenery as you walk around, but say it's just I'd I'd rather play and it's got smooth locomotion, but it's not the whole gimmick of this to me is the whole non-Euclidean space type thing.
Yeah. I would
So
never want to play this with smooth locomotion. There'd be no point.
yeah,
Why wouldn't I just play
that's what I
Doom or
mean.
something?
Yeah, there's so many better games to play
Yeah.
with a smooth locomotion. But yeah, some people rave about it and think it's really good. I
Yeah,
just think
it
it's
has. Yeah, it has like 90 something percent on Steam, and people are usually really positive about it. And I feel like they're just being nice because the developer's trying doing something new and
yeah,
kind of innovative. Not that it's really not that new, but
that's exactly what it is. I think it's just down to the idea of it more than the execution. It's this thing where it's using the world's the 3D space in real life so that you can physically walk around. But
yeah. Yeah,
it's
like
not particularly that compelling.
if I were to leave a Steam review, I would say not recommended because of the price of $20. But I don't want to leave a negative review because I feel like guilty about it. Even though I paid for this, I bought it.
That's why he probably only has positive
Y-
reviews because people
Yeah,
don't want to leave bad reviews on this game
yeah, and
because
it's
they feel like
because
it's just
they're doing something different. I don't want to be shitty toward it. Yeah,
yeah, it's a weird situation.
yeah,
But
because I definitely do
I
want
don't know.
more games like this.
But
I mean,
how
Roomscale at
could
least.
anyone
Yeah.
make a game in Roomscale that's going to do something interesting? That's I don't really know
Well,
how they would do it.
something more like Eye of the Temple, where they can figure out a way to not make me just turn around in circles constantly.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like that, even that has its limitations. Like
Yeah.
there's only so many times you can replay the same trick before you realize, okay, well, I'm just doing the same thing over and over. Um, well, that's one of the puzzles you're talking about, is it?
I don't even know what this is. This I still don't know. I was like, I was trying to figure out what do they want me to do here. I still don't. I have no clue. There were a bunch of times, yeah, where I was like, all right, I got to a dead end, and I was like, okay, I guess I turn around, and then I saw a door that maybe I didn't see before. And the way you know to go through a door is it's flashing. There's little lights.
You
Um,
just put the thing in there.
yeah, I put that thing on there thinking I need to blow it up. So here I am, and I'm like, no, I don't think that did anything. I don't know. Maybe I'm
Yeah, so I
not.
mean, I think
Yeah. Sorry.
overall, I think that the game's feels like something that's made by a really good programmer, but
Hmm.
not by a game designer or an art designer. Like the art's obviously not very good.
Oh, and
The
you can get upgrades. I forgot. If you saw me looking at my wrists, there are like different upgrades you can find and stuff.
right for your weapons, you mean?
Yeah, a guy watched my video and left a comment saying you didn't even like figure out half of the game's mechanics and blah 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 blah. And I was like, yeah, all right. He apparently
You got to
played it
be
a lot
interested.
more. Hmm?
You've got to be interested in the game enough to want to figure
Yeah.
out the mechanics, though.
Did you see me just now looking at that gun and did you see all that text?
Yeah, there's like a wall of stats and stuff on each gun.
Yeah, I didn't know what I was looking at. And oh, and the game does constantly put these. I'm sure you can turn it off, but by default, it constantly kept putting these saying like, "Go get more energy, go get more energy." You know, like constantly putting text in my face, which was really annoying.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So I guess that's it. You want to talk about battle talent?
Yeah.
All right.
Talk about battle talent. It's a battle talent is basically a dungeon crawler type roguelite. It's like a physics based melee combat game. So it's more obviously similar to something like Blade and Sorcery. But I enjoyed this a lot more than Blade and Sorcery because it's an actual game for start. So it's got. I'm not a big fan of roguelites. I don't know if you would like them or not, but mind you like
Compound,
Compound, which is
compound. You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
yeah.
Generally, the big thing I don't like is because you're doing like a run and you have to see how far you can get before you can die, and then you have to restart the entire thing again. And you might have like upgrades and stuff that you carry with you to try and make you more strong. Whereas this has actually got actual chapters and levels, so you've got like a grid system, and then you can select uh, which level you want to do, and then after you've done enough levels for a boss character, you then get to move on to a new chapter, and each chapter introduces new enemies, new weapons, new skills, magic. You can also you get points like as you go through each level, and then you can distribute those points to different things. Like you can increase your health and your weapons and your mana, and you can unlock new weapons through that. So there's a lot to it, and it's like you're not just it's not like a sandbox thing where you just here's everything, just do what you want. It's actually it starts off with basic weapons, and as you go on, it keeps introducing new stuff, which is what I like about it. It's got that thing where you just keep getting something new, a new enemy or a new weapon, and some of the weapons are really cool as well. Like there's one which has got like this blade, like a Wolverine type hand blade, it's also got a gun built into it, so you can kind of stab an enemy and then shoot the enemy while you've got them stabbed and stuff. Um, and then it'll do things like it's got parkour in it where you can jump and wall run and stuff. It introduces that later on. So then some of the levels where you have to literally kind of navigate your way through these mazes, these kind of procedural dungeons, and there's sections where you need to like rope swing and wall run across chasms and stuff. So it's really it's the best it's the best game in terms of having an actual game and progression and an ending and everything compared to something like Blade and Sorcery. It's not perfect. I mean, it's still obviously clunkiness, which you always end up getting with these type of games. Like some of the enemies look a bit when you hit an enemy, sometimes they don't react the way you want to and stuff like that. And I definitely think there's room for improvement. But if you're looking for this type of game and you like Blade and Sorcery, then I definitely think you should try this game because it's pretty good. I think it's actually decent.
You did a video where you compared this and Grimlord and Blade and Sorcery and what was it?
Hellsplit Arena
Hellsplit
on
Arena
Undead Citadel.
and
Yeah.
Undead Citadels. Was this one your favorite?
This is my favorite overall, yeah,
Okay.
because I just had the most fun with it. It's a bit slow to start because it like I say it slowly introduces you to the game and like you start off just as you with a sword, but then like I say it gives you more powers and abilities and weapons as you progress. So I would stick with it a little bit. I wouldn't just play like the first few levels and think, well, that's not very good because it does get better as you play it. And it's got that roguelike thing where as you go through a level, you can get like power ups. So you can pick up you get like choice of three things, and one might give you a bit extra health or more damage to your attacks or more magic and stuff. So it's got that roguelike element to it, and some levels are like you're in an arena, you've got to fight off waves of enemies. Sometimes you're going through a procedural dungeon where you've got to go, fight enemies through the dungeons and like rooms that you've got to clear out and stuff. So it's got that variety, and then they've got boss fights as well, which you can take on and which can be quite difficult.
When you
So
go
yeah,
when you go straight to one of the levels, the like say the highest level you've gotten to, do you maintain everything that you've acquired up until that point?
yeah, you keep your
Mm,
progression, so you
okay.
always have all your like health and stuff that you've added to yourself
Okay.
and weapons that you've unlocked. You keep all that stuff. It adds it to all to your inventory. The 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 weapons that you unlock are only really used in there's like a sandbox thing you can do. So like as you progress, you have like a chart, like a map, and you can you there's not like a straight path. You can sometimes go straight to the boss fight, but then there's like branching paths which might unlock different weapons that you can do or different abilities. So there's a reason to kind of you can just straight line it to the each chapter, or you can do extra stuff as well. And each level might give you a specific weapon as well. It's not like you can just pick whatever weapon you want. Sometimes they'll give you like a new weapon, like a spear, or they'll give you a crossbow or a bow and arrow and stuff. Then you have to use that weapon. Then if you kill enemies and they drop a weapon, you can use their weapons during the level as well. So yeah, I just think overall it's a very well done game, and they keep getting every month he adds more updates as well, so it keeps getting improved over time. So I think if you want a Blade and Sorcery type game with an actual progression and an actual campaign to play through, then this is definitely the best one that's out there in my opinion.
So you think Mr. VR Voice just didn't play enough of it?
Oh yeah, I don't really know because he made a
He was.
another YouTuber made a really bad video just like shitting all over the game. But all the footage he captured was right at the start of the game, like basically in the tutorial.
Mm-hmm.
And the enemies can be a bit dumb sometimes at times where they don't really react, but it doesn't take long before the difficulty ramps up and you've got quite a lot of enemies. There's loads of variety of enemies. Some of them literally kind of like they like float towards you and then they can do like swinging attacks and stuff. So yeah, there's it's I don't agree with his personal opinion on the game. But yeah, he was quite harsh on it.
Okay. Should I go to the next one?
Yep.
All right. So Dark Souls Remastered was on sale, so I was like, all right, let me try it because it had, there's a Luke Ross VR mod for it, and I heard it was pretty good because this is a game that isn't very taxing on your system. So Luke Ross mods tend to not look very good if a game like, especially like a game like Cyberpunk, if it's pretty taxing on your system because the frame rate is pretty low because it's alternate eye rendering. You need to get like, I don't know, what is it, like 180 frames per second to be able to get 90 with alternate eye rendering. Is that correct?
Yeah,
I
you're
don't,
supposed to be able to. You're supposed to kind of double up, aren't you? But I think he's added something now, which is like like ASW type thing, where it's kind of it's manufacturing frames as well, which some people say is really good. But every one type of system I've tried of that, you can still see that it's doing that.
okay.
So I don't
Well,
know.
of all the Luke Ross mods I've tried, this one looked the best. It didn't I didn't notice any weird reprojection issues with this one. Probably it's the easiest game for my PC to render in VR. So it looked good. I played it in third person. My only issue is I've never liked these types of games. So I've tried Dark Souls before on PC, the original, or maybe it was called like Prepare to Die edition or something. I didn't get it. I played it once and didn't play it again. Then I got Bloodborne for PS4. Again, I didn't get it, and I didn't play it again. Well, that one though had really really long loading times. Like you would die, and then you'd have to wait multiple minutes for the game to load the next scene, and I just didn't have patience. So this monster you see him fighting, I beat this monster, and then I went further, and like I just feel like this game's really confusing as far as like what am I supposed to be doing? Like where does the game want me to go? Even just using the inventory, I had to look up how to even use the inventory, like how to equip my sword and shield. It wasn't intuitive at all. I don't know what the deal is with these games. Maybe someone who's all into Dark Souls would be laughing at me right now, but I just don't get it. Did you ever try Dark Souls game or anything like that?
I did try this with the mod, but it's just too old for me. I didn't think it looked that great.
Oh, it was about the
But
graphics. Oh,
yeah, I'm a bit of a graphics whore.
yeah,
But the thing is with these games as well is that I think they improved them over time, like maybe with because this is obviously one of the very first ones they did. I think they did Demon Souls before this, and then this
yeah.
one, and it doesn't sound like they maybe updated some of the controls and everything, made it a bit more. Maybe it's one of those games. I know some people love that sort of stuff, where they've got to figure everything out for themselves, and
Hmm.
like I don't know. I mean, I'm never been a big fan of that, and these games are obviously very difficult and punishing. So if you die, I'll talk about a VR game which is similar to this actually, but if you die, the checkpoints are really long, and you've got to go through lots of enemies just to get back to where you were and stuff like that. So it's one of them things that I've never tried it. In theory, I don't think I'd like it, but I don't know. I'd
I,
never had I've never had the urge to try it personally.
I was wondering, like, so I love Valheim, and Valheim is hard as hell and confusing. But why did I stick with Valheim? But then this, I'm just like, nah, I can't. I'm not sure what the difference is.
I don't know. Maybe Valheim, but don't forget Valheim's a proper VR thing as well. So you've got this is obviously just third person.
I,
This is just playing.
you probably can play this in first person, but yeah, Valheim. Oh
Can,
yeah, you
but
have
not
motion
with motion
controls.
controls and
Yeah,
stuff.
with motion controls. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true. Um,
and to me that makes a game more compelling straight away because you've got that control. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Valheim is just something that you and Josh really got into. I
yeah.
I, I liked it because of the exploration side of it. Um, but yeah, after a while it got on my nerves. But you guys just really got into it.
I got to a point in
Yeah,
this game where I got to these ghost women or something, and they were just killing me instantly. And I was trying to run past them all, and I was like, "Oh shit, I made it past them!" And I got into some castle, and then out of nowhere, I just got completely surrounded by these ghosts. These ghosts, they have like I don't know, dagger hands or something, and they just all decimated
yeah,
me. So I had to go on the internet to look up what the hell am I supposed to do there, and people were saying, "Oh, you're not even supposed to be in that part of the game yet. Like that's like later. That's much later game stuff." I'm like, "Well, how the hell am I supposed to know? How I was even able to get there? I didn't see where I was supposed to go.
yeah,
I don't know. There must have been some other
yeah.
path I was supposed to take."
Yeah, I've never played these games, so I can't comment. But I think they are kind of a bit obtuse sometimes with where you need to go and what you need to do and stuff. And you've got to figure things out for yourself. But some, like I say, some people really like that aspect of them, like where they're not holding your hand. It's more. Cause I've heard a lot of people say, like, oh, I can't do this boss, and then people say, oh, well, you just need to grind other areas of the
Get
game,
good.
to improve your. Yeah, you need to buff yourself up and get
Hmm.
because it's obviously got like you can upgrade and get more powerful. I think some people just like that grinding, just to grind up the character enough to get past the sections they get stuck on. But
Hmm.
I hate grinder games, so I'm not gonna play it.
Yeah, so I guess that's all I have to say about Dark Souls. Are you ready for Grimlord?
Yeah, we may as well talk about that because this is the game that's basically everyone is saying is Dark Souls in VR. See, I've never played Dark Souls, so I can't 100% say, but it feels like what I would expect a Dark Souls game to be like in VR. Obviously, it's got that dark look to it, the medieval sort of style. Yeah, this is another one which is kind of like a physics-based one. It's not quite full physics compared to something like Blade and Sorcery. Um, I do like the balance of the combat of this actually because the combat's quite slow compared to some other games, and it's kind of made the enemies really tanky, so you can't just walk up to them and waggle and just absolutely destroy them. You, the whole system is where you need to like kind of parry and block their attacks. So you'll make a swing. You can definitely tell where the swing's going to go. You can block the attack and then obviously get a hit in. And you've got to kind of figure out ways to take each enemy out. Some enemies got more armor, so you want to try to kind of sweep them from the legs, or you can do like a little dodge move where you kind of dash to one side, so you can kind of dodge an attack and then hit them in the back where the weak spots are. So I do like the balance of the combat on this. I think it's a game where it's not as frantic as some of the others. You've got to be more methodical. You've got to be think about more about your placement. Like sometimes if you get a few enemies around you, you're better off kind of backing off, letting them funnel into like a choke point or something. But there's definitely more strategy to it to a lot of the other games. But it is definitely quite unforgiving. It's like Dark Souls where you've got these checkpoints, so you'll go into a level. In fact, I went to a level and you've got like a checkpoint at the beginning of the level, and I haven't found another checkpoint in the level yet, and I've got quite far. So then you go, you keep getting a bit further each time, and you can unlock shortcuts where you can find a door, and then you can open that door, and the next time you load into the level, that door's now open, so you can cut out sort of the parts of the level, so you can get to where you were quicker. It's still really brutal. Like, got to a section where 'cause I mean, you're in this like cat, you're trying to get through this castle, and then got all the way through this castle, got to this other side of the castle in this big courtyard area. Then all of a sudden, there must have been like 10 enemies, plus this guy who was like summoning other enemies in there. And I was running around like an idiot trying to like kill some of them, and I died. Then it restarted me right back to the beginning of the level. So then I had to come all the way back through, and I was like, okay, I need to take a break from this because it's definitely um, quite a brutal game that you might like it. I know because you are quite a persistent gamer, so it depends on if you like this sort of game, but yeah, I think you should try it and see what you think.
The only
Not
reason I
perfect.
haven't, sorry,
Um,
you can go ahead.
oh, you go.
Oh, the only reason I haven't tried it is because I tried the demo during a Steam Next Fest and the demo sucked, but it does look way better now than the
Yeah,
demo.
people have said in the reviews that the demo was bad, but the main game's good. I will say that it's still don't expect like a polished game. It's in early access, I think, so it's not like a full release, and it's definitely got some jank and some issues. It needs a bit more polishing up, but the overall concept and the game structure, I think, is pretty good. And a lot of people, I mean, I think it's got like very positive reviews on Steam. People are really enjoying this game. But again, if you're not into like the Dark Souls kind of really hard gameplay, then I think you're probably not going to enjoy it as much. Like I'm still interested in playing the game because I think that the overall gameplay loop is good. But I do wish, for me personally, I do wish there were more checkpoints so that if I died, I wouldn't have to go right from the beginning again. That's my main complaint with it, really. If they could just have the option to have more checkpoints for people, but I've seen people in the discussions in Steam like say about more checkpoints, and you get your usual people who are like, that's the whole point. It's supposed to be hard. It's a Dark Souls game. You need to get better and stuff like that. So some people don't. People who are into these games don't like it if someone wants it to be easier. It's like for them that's part of the game. It's like Dark Souls, that whole debate about whether they should have like an easier mode, like a difficulty slider,
Hmm.
because there's no difficulty on Dark Souls. It's like that is what you get. Um, the thing for me is like if it's an option, then why should it matter? If you can play the game as you want it to with the original way, but there's an option for other people to make it easier, then I don't see why that matters. But some people really seem to be against that even being a thing. So
The summer over there in the UK has been really hot, right? So, do you have a hard time playing a game where you have to swing a sword all over the place?
I don't like it. Yeah, I mean it's been this. We had like 1 month when it was really hot. We had a month when it was pretty shit with lots of rain, and it's been hot these last few days. But overall, if it's really hot, yeah, I don't want to be swinging around and
Because
getting
yeah, most
sweaty.
people over there don't have any AC, right?
No, because
Mm.
we get like two. We don't get enough weather. Like maybe a couple of months a year, I would even need it. So what's the point in
Yeah,
spending all that money on something for 2 months out of 12 months of the year? So
yeah. All right,
you
anything
think you'll
else
check
about?
this out?
Yeah, yeah, definitely, because I can play it for free through your account. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I've got it. So if you want to check it,
yeah.
I would definitely. I'd give that and Battle Talent a go as well. Just to see what you think. 'Cause they are complete opposites in a way. Because Battle Talent's a lot faster. It's giving you more freedom to move around more, and the enemies are a lot quicker. But the enemies die faster, whereas this is more slower. Kind of the enemies are going to take more to kill.
Hmm.
But you can find strategies as well, like the ways that you kill them. There are ways that if you stab them in the head, they'll go to the floor, and then you can kind of like just keep hitting them before they get back up to kill them, or like I say, sweep them from the legs. Or yeah, there's definitely more to it than just walk up and kind of just hit them until they die. You've got to think a bit more about each enemy and how you're going to tackle them, which I do like.
Okay. All right, so I'll go to Monster Hunter. This is another flat to VR mod. This is Prey Dogs mod. So the RE framework mod, supports Resident Evil 2 remake, 3 remake, 7 and 8, and Monster Hunter Rise, and Devil May Cry, and Street Fighter 6. So Monster Hunter Rise was on sale, so I was like, all right, I want to try out that mod. This video is just somebody playing 2D. I
Yeah,
couldn't find a good video of somebody playing VR, but this is how
same
it's
thing
the same
anyway.
thing. Because yeah, I played third person, and you start out in a town and you run around and you talk to people. At first, like in the cutscenes and the title screen area, I was like, wow, this looks really good. But then once the actual game started, I was like, oh, now it looks shitty. What happened? So I went into the settings and there was a setting like the quality setting. I had to increase that. And then it looked good again. But then I noticed, oh, now the performance isn't as good. So I could definitely notice plenty of reprojection. But I don't know. I didn't mess with other settings much. So maybe there was something else I could have fixed. But you go around fighting monsters. You start out fighting these little monsters like that look like dinosaurs or lizards or something. And then as you progress, you go into different missions. But I was finding that these levels just look like the same level over and over again. But maybe the more you play, maybe the levels change more. But it was like looked very samey. And these little monsters are easy. And you have this dog that you can ride on, which is like, okay, he just got on this dog, and you can get around the world pretty fast with the dog and jump, and there's no fall damage when you're on the. I don't know if there's fall damage when you're not on the dog, but you can just jump from any high distance, which I always like stuff like that in VR, like jumping from a high distance and falling. That's one of my favorite things to do in VR. And I got to some pretty big monster, and it was like a tank. I hit it so many times, and I could not get it to die. But I'm sure I don't know. I think there's a lot of mechanics and a lot of stuff going on in this game that I don't understand. Maybe other people do. It's a very Japanese game, so it's not really
Yeah,
my style. What are you gonna say?
this is kind of I feel like this game's made for co-op more than anything.
Yeah,
I
probably
think it's
needed other
like
people helping me. Yeah.
yeah, because I think it's like a very grindy kind of stats driven thing. Like I've seen people with hundreds of hours in this game where they're just constantly playing, grading and stuff. And yeah, I've heard people really like this game. Um, so I don't know, but I don't know. It just seems very repetitive from me. Like everything I'm seeing is just it just seems like the whole game is you just going through, just killing,
And
constantly
button
killing enemies.
mashing. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never been a big fan of this type of button mashy type game because they always end up getting repetitive eventually. I mean,
I feel
there's
the
only
same
so many
about Devil May
moves.
Cry and Bayonetta, those type of games. I feel like I don't know,
Yeah,
but I guess when people get high level, they're not just button mashing. But when I play, it's just button mashing. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, you can learn combos and stuff like that, and some people get really good at them. But I don't know. Like I played Devil May Cry 5 with the Grey Dog mod, and I didn't finish it because I got to a certain point and the game was just so repetitive.
Yeah.
I just got bored with it, so I just turned it off. But I think these games have got to have like story and they've got to have really nice graphics for me to want to pull me through. If it's just grinding, doing the same thing over and over, I'm definitely not gonna keep sticking to it.
Yeah.
Personally, myself.
Yeah. I was pretty much a one and done. I just wanted to try it out.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was on sale for. It might have been $20. $20 just to play it once. Whatever.
Did you refund it?
No, I didn't even refund it.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
know. I don't know why. I know why. Because I bought it and then it took me weeks to play it, or maybe longer than that. That's why I didn't
so
try it.
you can over your 2 hours.
I do that a
2 weeks.
lot. I buy a game and then I wait a little while and then it's too late.
Yeah, I try and get into a habit. If I buy something, I just download it immediately and
Mhm.
then I'll try it within a few days. Because otherwise, I've done that before where I've done that and played a game and I've realized it's not very good and I can't refund it. So
Yeah. Oh, there was one thing that was weird that I've never seen in another VR mod. Like, so this looked good for the most part, but then sometimes, so I would see a monster ahead of me. Like, the monster would be in a different location in my left eye, and a completely different location on the screen in my right eye, and like doing a completely different pose. Like,
huh,
have you
weird.
ever seen anything? Yeah, I've never seen anything like that.
No, I've
So
seen that.
so looking at that monster is really hard to do. Like,
Yeah.
you can see these monsters here fighting each other. So a lot of times that monster who is like more round, I don't know what you would call that thing. A lot of times those monsters, like in my left eye, he would be off to the left of the screen, maybe smelling his ass, and on my right eye, he's to the right side of the screen eating some fruit. You know, and I can't even imagine what would make the game behave that way or the mod. I can't. I don't know. Prey Dog could tell you, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. I've never heard of anything like that because normally you get stuff off, but it's the same in both eyes. But if it's completely different, like pose and stuff, it's
Yeah.
bizarre.
All right, you ready for all-in-one sports
I'll let you do
VR?
another one because I'm just looking at the list. Like you've got so
Oh, because
many.
there's so many.
We're gonna
Oh,
get to a point where it's just gonna be you. So
okay.
I'll let you do the next one.
All right. So I played 7 Days to Die. If I can get it to there, it is. 7 Days to Die, the VR mod. So this is a VR mod that came out pretty recently. It has full motion control support. You played it with Josh, and I also played it with Josh. I think you
Yeah, I
didn't
didn't
like
like it.
it, and then it got updated, and then Josh and I played it. And when I got in it, I was. He said that you said it was like it was shit. You thought it was shit or something, or maybe you thought it didn't look good enough. I got in it, and I was like, oh,
Look,
I think this looks pretty good.
I thought it looked pretty bad. Yeah.
And we. I wonder if I was seeing the same thing as you.
I don't know. The open world and everything just looked pretty basic, like an old PS2 game, PS3 game maybe. But, yeah, the zombies and stuff looked okay. It was just mainly the
Mhm.
outside open world that looked a bit
I think
rough.
sometimes I think actually PS3 level graphics I'm actually happy to see in VR sometimes.
I shouldn't say PS3 because PS3 had some great looking games, but
Oh,
yeah, I mean it's difficult because PS2 obviously games look really bad and they're not
yeah.
PS2 level, but
Oh, yeah. And PS2 is
yeah,
in HD. That's all standard def. Also.
yeah, but yeah. I mean, whatever. It just looked. It just didn't. I'm playing Fallout 4 at the moment in VR, and it looks good, but it's not like I don't know for some reason. I think it's just open worlds because you've got so much area. You can never get them running in VR and like with a modern day open world game. I just don't know how you could get it to perform because obviously there's so much going on. But yeah, I
For,
mean, it looks even without just considering the looks of this game though. Um, the overall loop of the gameplay is just not for me. Just like the constant, 'cause the whole concept of the game is that you're basically crafting and grinding to try and make a base or something, secure a base, and
mhm.
then every 7 days, a horde of zombies try to attack you. So the game is basically built around crafting, grinding, and base building, and you just keep repeating the loop. And every time the loop happens, the horde gets stronger, so you have to keep like fortifying your base and stuff. Did you actually get to that point, or did you
Oh
just
no, no, I don't know. We might have played for 2 hours. It was mostly
right?
Josh having to explain to me how the game works because it seemed pretty
Yeah.
complicated.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah.
And um, yeah, I I think I had performance issues. I did have reprojection issues. Did someone left a comment somewhere saying maybe it was on one of your videos that the performance is better now, or maybe there are some settings you have to change to make it better?
Josh said that it was better actually because when I tried it, the performance was terrible. Like
Yeah,
I actually started to get
the
motion
one
sick
that he
from it
said was
because
better was the one I tried that I say was not good. The performance was not
I
good
was I was getting
for
like
me.
I don't know 40, 45 frames per second, sometimes below.
Hmm.
Uh, and after 30 minutes, I was starting to feel actual motion sickness because obviously I was at a really bad frame
Yeah,
rate.
I was feeling
And
something. I don't normally ever feel anything, but I wasn't sure if it was because I was hungry. I remember I was like, oh shit, I haven't eaten. I'm way past needing to eat because we'd been playing for
yeah,
games for a while. Or it could have been the reprojection. I don't know.
could have been both. Sometimes like when you're hungry and you're on an empty stomach, it makes the motion sickness feel worse. Like I
Hmm.
get more motion sick when I'm on an empty stomach than if
Okay.
I've eaten. So it could have been that. Yeah, could have
Yeah.
had your first experience of a little bit of motion sickness.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't think I want to play it again. And I was telling him, I was telling him, like, kind of like, why would I want to play this when I've played games like Valheim? He was like, yeah, Valheim's so much better than this. I don't know.
Some people really like this game. I think it's the loop that they like. With the some people really like these kind of grindy games, and I just hate them. Just 'cause they literally, well, that's the whole point. You're just doing the same thing over and over. That's what grind is. So, nah, you get enough of that in real life. So why would I want to do that in video games?
I also might be sick of zombies and apocalypses and shit. I'm kind of sick of that.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
lot of that type of game.
Yeah. All right. You ready for Crysis?
We're doing all-in-one sports.
Oh, all in one. You're right. All right. We'll do that.
Yeah,
So
so
yeah.
this is a game that I roped you into playing as well.
Yeah.
Because me and Josh was playing. Well, we like to play Walkabout mini golf a lot, which we'll talk about in a minute. But uh, we that game is really good. Like Walkabout mini golf, we've talked about loads of times, but it is just golf. And we were saying how why is there not a game that has like a Wii Sports game that's got a load of different sports? So then Josh did a bit of research and he found this game and it came up on sale. So we were like, okay, let's just give it a go. And it's actually pretty good. It's actually a lot better than we expected. It's got 13 different games. We've got basketball, bowling, baseball, darts, badminton, tennis, table tennis, did I say boxing? Boxing, bowling, volleyball. There's golf. I think that's most of them. Yeah. So there's a really good variety. Oh, you got pool as well. There's a really good variety in the games, and all the games are good. I wouldn't say they're like the best in the class. I'm sure there's
Not
an
pool.
equivalent
I don't
game.
think pool is any good.
I thought the pool was okay.
Mm.
I'm sure there's a game. I'm sure you can buy like a bowling VR game that's better than the bowling game, or a pool VR game that's better than the pool game. That is just all it is. It's just pool. It's just it's just table tennis. Whereas this is doing. 13 different games, and you can obviously switch and play between them and play against each other 2 player. I don't think I'd recommend playing this on your own because I've heard that the AI like really hard to play against or easy in some games depending on which ones. Um, but yeah, I think it's good enough. Each one's good enough to be fun. If you're playing against someone, it just makes it fun anyway because you're playing against someone. But what did you think to it?
I just noticed in this video they're showing boxing, and it would look like Beat Saber. So what if you're playing single player? You sometimes get different games.
I don't know. I think maybe that might because this is an old trailer and
Maybe they changed it.
they've yeah, I think they've changed it because the boxing is actually literally boxing was hilarious. It was the funnest one
Yeah.
to play because you just you actually obviously in a ring like you can use your stick to move around and stuff, and then you can do like a power up punch and things. But we were just it's just so funny because you just see your little floating arms just like bashing each other, and then you get knocked to the floor, and then the other person's trying to get up, and uh, Justin walked up and started doing like the helicopter or the windmill on me, and I was like, oh, what the fuck?
I couldn't stop laughing.
Yeah, it was funny, and it was just yeah, it was funny, and Josh is really good at it, so he was just annihilating us because
Yeah,
he
Josh
knows
is
how to
taller
box
than
in real
us,
life.
so he has longer reach. And
Yeah, I couldn't even get a hit in with
yeah,
Josh, but with me and Justin had a closer match.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean all of them are good. Like basketball, you kind of just you're not obviously in a court playing a game of basketball. You just throwing the basketballs into the hoop. So you're just trying to get as many hoops, as many baskets as you can before the timer runs out, and it keeps moving you to different positions in the court. So you sometimes you're doing like a long shot, sometimes you're closer up. Then obviously, like tennis and stuff. Something I know you didn't like, but I thought it was probably the best solution.
Oh,
Was
I liked tennis. Oh, but you're talking about. Oh, sorry, you were talking about the movement.
yeah, I was gonna talk about the movement because it's not got like free movement where you can move and try and get the ball, which I personally think would be a complete disaster because I feel like I would fall over at some point. But yeah, automatically it kind of when you once the other players hit the ball, the game kind of automatically knows where it's going to land, so it moves you to that place, and then you can then
You
hit
think
it
you'd
back.
fall over if you used the left stick? Is that what you're saying?
I think I'd fall over if I'm trying to use a left stick and trying to reach out and hit balls and stuff. I think it would
Really?
just get really disorienting. Yeah, I mean, I
Huh.
could. If there was an option, I'd try it, but I think this is the best solution where you don't have to move in your play space. You can just stay where you are. You're not going to hit anything, obviously, unless you've got stuff in your way anyway. And then the ball just comes at you. You have to backhand it or forehand it, and it works surprisingly well.
I
It,
feel
it was
like the
fun.
forced movement would cause more motion sickness for people than them, like, say, pressing left on the left stick, and then their brain knows, all right, now I know I'm going to see the image move to the left, you know?
Yeah, I'd be curious to try it if they did have that option, but I don't think they're going to do that. I think the game's pretty much finished now.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, I
and
did.
now they have that sports all in one
Yeah, they're
game.
working on a summer sports thing,
Summer,
which
yeah,
is
that's what I mean.
looks terrible. This one's pretty decent. It's not bad. It's £15, I think. And if you've got friends to play with, then I definitely would buy it. Um, there are only 2 players, so you can't play obviously with more than two. But what we did was we went into Discord, um, voice chat, and then one of us shared the screen. So then the other one could watch the others play, and then whoever won the game stayed on, and the other person went in and took the loser's place, basically. It worked out pretty well because then you get a break between, because obviously it is quite physical. You're having to physically swing or box or do like the basketball or the bowling and what have you. So yeah, I think it's good. I think it's worth the money as long as you've got other people that you can play with, not just against the AI.
Could you play against random people on the internet?
You can, but I don't know how popular the game is to do that. Um, yeah, with the you can do like you set up a game and you put a code in, and then the other person puts the same code in, and then they join the same game, and it worked. We had a few occasional bugs and stuff, but overall it works pretty well.
Yeah, the game
And
sometimes crashed on me, and
yeah, weird crashes, and sometimes like when you'd retry, the other person would disappear, so you couldn't see them.
mhm.
And then there were some times where it would just disconnect you and randomly, you'd have to rejoin. But overall, it was it works pretty well, and there's not games themselves play. I didn't have any problems with any of the games when you're actually playing them. It was just occasional problems with crashing and connection issues and stuff like that.
All right. Do you want to go to Crysis?
Oh, you do the next one.
Okay. Let me see. What are we doing? All right. I don't know why these are out of order now.
Far Cry.
Yeah, Far Cry. So there's a Far Cry VR mod now. It's on GitHub. It doesn't have motion control support, but the guy, so I subscribe to it and I keep seeing updates. Like every day I get new development build updates, and it looked like he's added motion control support. And isn't there a video on YouTube with motion controls?
Yeah, he's uploaded a video showcasing the mod. It's got motion controls, but it's not available on the actual public build yet.
Yeah,
But
and
yeah,
it's the
it's gonna
guy,
have
it's the
motion
lead
controls.
developer of the Half-Life 2 mods.
Yeah,
Yeah, his
and
name's like,
he's
what the hell's his name?
Olga or something.
Yeah, Holger Friedrich.
Yeah.
I think of all the games I've played, this was the one I'm probably, even though it's a game from 2004, this is the one I'm most excited about. I played this.
Yeah, a lot of people are excited
Yeah,
about this game.
yeah. I played it when it first came out, and I don't think I ever beat it because I think like toward the end it got pretty hard, and I never beat it. In 2004 or whenever the hell it was. But yeah, I want to go through this whole game in VR with motion controls. So I'm waiting for the motion controls. But I did play it, the mod, just where you had to use a mouse and keyboard. So I just used my wireless keyboard, and it's kind of hard to control because, like,
Yeah, the way he's done the turning as well, really weird because you kind of have to move the cursor all the way to the left of the screen to turn.
yeah,
It doesn't like just turn with it. It's really weird how he's done that.
Oh, so you
I
tried
think there's
it?
a way of changing it. No, he did the same thing with Crysis when that came out,
Oh,
which I'm
okay,
going to talk about.
okay. I didn't know he's also doing the Crysis one.
He's not doing any more of it. I'll talk about that in a minute.
Oh,
But yeah,
okay.
he did the Crysis first, and then he's working on this one.
Yeah. So yeah, Far Cry and Crysis is both by the same company. I remember when Crysis came out, I upgraded my graphics card to like the most expensive graphics card that was even available at the time, and I still couldn't run it well, and I was so fucking pissed. I remember that. And
Yeah, it's a game that's so far ahead of its time. Like,
yeah.
it's unbelievable.
At the time, it might have been $600 video card, which at the time was insane, and now that's not insane at all. I don't know. Maybe it was $500. I can't remember what it was. So that's it. I mean, it's on GitHub. I would say, yeah, subscribe to that so you can see the next time the motion controls get released.
I would definitely wait for the motion controls update.
Oh, and
It
looked great, I thought, in the headset. There were some like minor things, like there were birds flying in the air where you could see them in my left eye but not the right eye. But I saw an update where I think that's fixed.
Yeah. He's improved a few things, but I definitely would wait for motion controls unless you like playing with mouse and keyboard. Even then, I think the implementation's a bit weird. But I think there's a way in an INI file where you can change so that it's more like a traditional where you move the mouse and it moves the camera at the same time.
Yeah.
I would definitely try and do that because the way he's done it now with you have to kind of like drag the mouse across to the edge of the screen to turn feels really weird to me.
Yeah. All right. So want to do Crysis?
Yeah, I'll talk about Crysis because obviously they're linked.
Yeah.
Because Far Cry was obviously made by Crytek, and Crysis was kind of like the evolution of the Far Cry game.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Ubisoft started doing the Far Cries after a while, but yeah, Crysis looks absolutely amazing in VR. Like even obviously though it's an old game, because this is only for the older version. It doesn't work in the remastered versions. It doesn't work in 2 or 3. Only works in this game, but it still looks really good. I was pretty amazed how good it looks in VR, to be honest with you. This one's got motion control support, but the motion controls very basic, and I don't think he's adding anything else to it because he said that it's too hard to run and there's not been as much interested as he would like in the mod, so he's not really going to put any more time into it. He wants to put his time into Far Cry. The motion controls work by only tracks your right hand, so if you move your right hand, kind of like you haven't got two-handed grip or anything. You can't move your hands independently. It's just moving the weapon around to aim. And it moves the entire like arms. So like you've got your arms that are coming out of your body. If you twist your wrist, the arms kind of twist as well. So it's like Left 4 Dead mod if you don't turn the arms off on that. So you can just see the arms moving around with the motion controls, and as well, it's got no kind of room scale. So if you turn your body, the game still thinks you're facing the forward direction of where you spawned in. So like the HUD doesn't move, and if you try and push forward on the thumbsticks, you'll still move in the direction of the HUD. So like if you turn around and then you push forward on the thumbstick, you'll literally walk backwards because
I
it still
hate that.
thinks,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's a bit clunky. I've been using a gun stock because with a gun stock, it pulls your hands into the position of where the guns are anyway. So then it doesn't look. It looks pretty good with the hands and everything, the gun in the game. And I'm having to kind of stand with my back towards a wall type of thing because if I don't do that, I will literally physically turn and then it just breaks the game. So I'm having to use uh, smooth turn. I'm having to use thumbstick turn to play. If you use thumbstick, it's fine. It's just if you try and physically turn that you have problems.
You're standing up
But
against
yes,
the wall?
I'm kind of like leaning against something, so that I'm not. I'm
Hmm.
not. I can't be. I don't like. I don't. For some reason, I just can't play games seated like that. It just
Huh.
brain don't like it.
All
But
right.
yeah, I'm kind of. I'm just leaning against something in real life, so that it just stops me from. I'm kind of semi-seated, I guess, but I'm still kind of stood up. And yeah, I just use thumbstick turn. I don't like using, but I want to play this game in VR, and he's not going to update it, so I figured I may as well leave it as it is. But yeah, it's good. I mean, it definitely works if you're willing to put up with some quirkiness. Game looks great. There's some like other stuff as well, like with obviously in the flat game, you've got aim down the sight. So when you pull the like left, I think it's like is it the left mouse or whatever, that would pull the gun up. So you got you aim down the sights in the flat game, and then that moves you around slower. Uh, but because obviously you've got free control with the hands with the motion controls, it, you're always doing like hip fire, so your aim's really off. So then to switch to aim down the sights mode, you have to press and hold. I think it's the right E button on the right controller. Then that puts you into like ADS mode. So then you move around slower. But when you aim, your aim's a lot more accurate. And then you have to press and hold it again to take yourself out of ADS mode. There's things like that which it didn't really explain, so I had to figure all this out for myself. And some of the stuff like with some weird stuff like to run, you use the left trigger, but you only have to half press to run. Because if you fully press the left trigger, then you open the like armor menu, so you can change to like maximum armor or maximum strength and all that sort of stuff. So you kind of like have to half press the trigger to run. So there's just some quirky controls that I've never seen in any other games that you have to figure out for yourself because the game obviously doesn't tell you. He's not put any sort of tutorials or anything specific to the VR game.
Okay. Should I go to the next one? All right. Let me turn this off. Okay. So Pistol Whip got an update recently. There's a new level called Majesty, and it's medieval themed. And what I read on Upload was that it replaces your pistols with a crossbow. So I went into it expecting to have a crossbow, and no, I was okay. I have a pistol. So I was like, what the hell?
Right.
So I had to look it up. I was watching other people play it, and they were playing with a pistol. So I was like, what the hell? So I finally figured out you have to go to there. I don't know when the last time you played Pistol Whip is, but there's all these different guns and different types of weapons now. So there
Yeah.
was pistol, revolver, fists, burst mode guns, and then there was shotguns. So I had to go to shotguns, which they call boomstick, and under boomstick there was a crossbow. So that you have to select that to be able to have the crossbow on the level. I was reading people saying, even on YouTube, people, you know how people are on YouTube. It's like, it's amazing. It's
Yeah.
the best level ever. I played through
Yeah.
it, no big deal. I wasn't impressed at all. But I mean, I never was big into Pistol Whip, but
Well, the crossbows just kind of like
The
pistols.
crossbow, the crossbow, and it sounds like a gun. You just hear a gun sound when you shoot it. It doesn't even have like a crossbow
Uh,
sound.
it's
It's
just a pistol that looks like a crossbow. Then.
yeah. Yet it's a shot. It's considered a shotgun, even though it doesn't even behave like one at all. Yeah.
Yeah, I jumped back into this. I didn't play this because it came out after, but I jumped into this to try out the. They've had. I don't know if you looked. They've got the like remix mode now, where they've got a full level editor and people can actually make maps and
Yeah.
import their own songs and stuff now. Um, I jumped into that, and yeah, they've added a lot. They have added a lot to the game. Like there's so much stuff, and when you come in, there's like pop-ups and stuff coming up all over the place, and I was like, oh, what the fuck is all this? It was just I didn't even know what. And then there was a menu I couldn't get rid of, but I couldn't even figure out how to get rid of this menu and stuff. So they've added a lot, but in some ways they've made it even more complex than it needs to be. When gameplay is kind of just the same. Yeah, it's just It's a simple game on rails. I don't. It's weird because when I bought this game, I absolutely really liked it and played for like 8 hours in a week, and I was just constantly playing it. My legs were dying because you're constantly squatting in this game
Hmm.
pretty much. And then I just fell off a cliff, and I've never been interested in it ever since. And every time I go into these new levels and stuff, it's just the same thing because saying that it's a rhythm game, but I don't feel like it's a very good rhythm game. You're supposed to shoot to the beat, but you've just got guys coming from you everywhere, and
Hmm.
and you just have to kill them as fast as you can because if you don't, and they fire bullets at you, and then you've got to dodge the bullets. So then you end up spending the entire game just constantly pulling the trigger. Like I feel like I'm just never I'm pretty much constantly like bang, 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 constantly through the game, and then all the time you have to kind of move your head because whenever they fire a bullet, it's coming straight for your head.
Yeah.
If you keep your head still, you're gonna die. I'm constantly like weaving my head around whilst just constantly aiming and pulling the trigger, and that's basically the gameplay loop, and it just gets on my nerves. To be honest with you, it's just
Yeah. I feel the
annoying.
same. All right. So that's enough of that. So now there be goblins. This is a game I had wondered about for a long time. Was on my wish list for a long time. Then I think it went on sale, so I want to try it. It's a tower-based game. Tower-based defense or tower defense. You
Yeah.
know, like what's Kingdom Rush, like that type of game. But this is in VRs and it's first person, so you can set up the traps and the turret guns, and you can also then first person fight these goblins that are coming, to obviously to invade your kingdom. And I thought it was really fun. And as each level, you unlock, more types of weapons, or you unlock like new. See the hammer that you wield. You can get better hammers and upgraded ones, and then you get better types of turrets and better types of walls because you can put up walls to stop the enemies. And I haven't even gotten far enough to see all the stuff like these levels I'm seeing right now, like the one with the rail car. I haven't seen that. This one, I haven't seen this one. The one where I haven't seen the winter. So yeah, there's a bunch of stuff I haven't seen. I like these kind of games. Like all the Kingdom Rush games. I've played through all of those on Android.
Yeah.
Um, and I loved all the Plants vs Zombies stuff, all of that type. So I would recommend this to anyone who likes that type of game. It's pretty. It's got to be pretty cheap. Um,
Yeah, I've never even heard of this game before,
oh
so
really?
I'm not. Yeah.
Yeah, I played it once, but I need to go back into it. Like it's definitely a game I want to go
You,
back to.
you move around, or are you just like in a preset spot
No,
and
you
you
have
just have to
smooth
defend?
locomotion.
Oh right, so you're just
Yes.
like in an area you've got to defend it and
Yeah, and you
get through
just
like waves of enemies.
go anywhere you want. And they have a set path that they take to get to, their destination. Oh yeah, I
Right.
remember this one level. They I was I was beating them all pretty easily, but then I got to a level where they got through, and after a long battle, they send in these big brute goblins at some point, and there were a bunch of brutes coming toward my I don't know what you call it, the where the section I was defending. They had to get to like a statue and destroy it, and the brutes got through, and I think I just was like fuck, and I was frustrated, and then that's when I turned the game off. I need to go back in there, But yeah, it got intense at that point. And then I was
I'll
like
give it a
thinking,
try.
maybe I needed to use that different hammer. Like maybe that would have been better because I had different, at that point, I had different hammer options.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now
I
I guess you're going to give it a try.
think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've not played many of these tower defense games in VR. They always felt obviously like basic more like wave kind of based games, but
Oh, this is
if
waves.
it's yeah, but if it's fun, then that's the main thing in it. There was one. What
Oh,
was?
sorry. One more thing is like when the goblins get killed or blown up, they have very dramatic explosions and their limbs go flying
Right.
everywhere, and that's really cool.
Wasn't there a game where you're like a giant or something? Oh, what was that called? Never tried that. It's like a tower defense game, but you're like a giant and you throw stuff in. You can pick up stuff and throw it into like an arena and stuff. Oh
Hmm.
man, can't remember that game. Someone will know. Someone leave us a comment if you know what I'm talking about. Goliath or something? I can't remember what it's called.
Goliath?
Uh, maybe
I don't know.
Google it whilst you move on to the next
See,
game.
I can't stop thinking about games where like one player is the VR person and then there are other people running around. Like that's what I'm picturing, but that's not what you're talking about.
Oh,
I
I'm
don't know.
thinking about I can't remember. It was like a giant game where it's like that defense type of thing, but
Single player?
single player. Yeah, Goliath. There is actually a game called Goliath, but it's not that. Anyway, yeah. Move on to the next one.
All right, so we played Walkabout. There's always a new level. This is Laser Lair. So you and Josh and I played Laser Lair,
Yep.
and I mean, it was pretty good. But I think pretty much every hole was lasers, right?
Yeah, I mean, I liked it. It's not my favorite, but it's weird because I kind of sucked at it and then I didn't on the hard. I think I was better on the hard for some reason, but yeah, it was it, the levels are kind of you've got these lasers that are moving and you've got to just avoid the lasers. So I really like the level, like the overall
The look of it.
theme and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you're like on this desert island with it's basically like a Bond villain's kind of lair, this giant robot in the middle that you've got to try and deactivate. And I did enjoy the courses actually. I thought they were pretty good. Um, everyone's good overall, but I think that they keep switching things up and creating these new levels that are really cool.
Did you see that boat scene? Is that how it started? I don't remember. Did we start on a boat?
No, yeah, I think you could probably get onto to these things if you
Oh,
want to ride
okay.
them, maybe. Yeah,
All right. Yeah, I liked it. I can't remember. Did you win the hard and I won the easy or something? I don't
I think
remember.
so.
All
Yeah,
right.
I think I did bet on the hard for some reason. But yeah, it's if you like Walkabout, then it's another great level, and I would definitely recommend picking it up.
You're really good at finding all the hidden shit, like the all the clues stuff on the hard levels.
Yeah, I quite like that sort of stuff. If
Yeah.
it's got like, because this one, 'cause every time you do a hard level, they'll give you like an extra club, but you've got to find all the clues. This one had like because obviously it's on an island. You had like a diagram, and then it'd show you where the location is. You'd have to try and figure out where that was based on the island, and you'd have like landmarks to try and figure out. It was quite fun. I enjoyed that.
Yeah. All right. So Slotracers VR. I played this with Josh. This was cheap. It was probably on sale. I had like slot racer cars as a kid. Did you?
Yeah,
I'm sure Josh did. And you can build
okay,
a track,
electrics.
but we didn't build any. We just loaded up ones that were already built. I don't know if the developer made them or if other people that play this game made them. Some of them we
Yeah,
loaded up and we were like, holy shit! Like they were really complex.
yeah.
And it's just like slot racers in real life. You hold down your trigger, and if you hold down your trigger too much, they're gonna go too fast and fly off the track. Then you got to go find your car and put it back on the track, and you can race
But do you
each
have to
other.
manually do it?
Yeah, you have to manually go bend over and get it and put it back on the track.
That's cool.
And you can choose all these from all these different cars, different colors. And yeah, it was fun, but I can't really see myself doing it again. Really, I don't know.
Yeah, the problem with this sort of thing is that it is very limited because obviously all you're doing is just pumping the trigger basically.
Yeah. And I don't have
You,
the
you
motivation to build this stuff.
yeah, I think you've got to be more into the building than the racing. I think a lot of people do. It's like these train people, these make these train sets.
Mm-hmm.
Not they don't enjoy the actual trains going around. It's the building of the train sets that they enjoy. So
Yeah.
maybe that's like this, all about the building, not the gameplay.
Oh, and yeah, and you can do it like in a dark room. You can make, a room brighter. I think
Yeah,
some of the tracks might have been glow in the dark.
it's a cool
So,
concept, but
hmm
obviously um, restrictive, limited
yeah,
to you just being on the track, just pressing the accelerator basically.
yeah. So then another game we played was Copter Strike VR, which no one's ever heard of. I don't even know how we even. I think Josh is always looking for
Gosh,
random
he
crap,
always
right?
seems to find these. Yeah, he
Yeah.
always seems to find these games.
So I actually like the look of it. I like how colorful it is, even though it's simplistic graphics. I like colorful stuff. And there's a game called Omega Agent that was originally on Gear VR that looks similar to this that I liked a lot. You have a jetpack and you can just fly around this city, and it's on Steam, but I think I really liked it on Gear VR. I think the controls were better. Anyway, Copter Strike looked like it reminded me of that, so we were we had trouble getting into a game together, but we finally got it working. But then once we got into the game, we both really struggled with the controls, and the game seemed buggy. Like, because sometimes our helicopter would just be stuck in the ground, and we couldn't figure out how to get it off the ground. But sometimes we were both flying around in the air, and a lot of times we just crashed. And you could shoot at stuff. There are missions, but we had trouble understanding what the goal was a lot of the times. So I think we both refunded it. I think it was, I don't know, it might have been $10. I don't know. There's not much else to say about it. There was
Yeah,
zombie outbreak where we were trying to shoot at zombies, but we were flying around just trying to figure out like where are the zombies. It's hard to even see them. I don't know.
yeah.
Now, here's another questionable purchase of mine. This is portable. I keep pressing the wrong thing. Portable VR. No, another game no one's ever heard of. I bought this because one of the reviewers, a guy named Fast Lawyer, I'm sure you've seen his reviews before.
Yeah. He reviews everything. Yeah.
Yeah. He said this is only recommended for crazy, cold-hearted PC VR veterans, and he warned that it was going to cause you motion sickness and all this. So I was like, oh, I got to try this because I'm always into stuff like that, just to see what happens.
Right.
And it was probably the jankiest game I've ever played in VR. Because your hands will like get stuck. Like you'll be grabbing on the wall and your hands will get stuck and you can't even get your hand out. And part of it might have been because I was using index controllers and sometimes they're weird with grabbing stuff. I don't know. But yeah, I played it once and this was only like $3, but I still refunded it.
It looks like there's a new flat game which is with like a meme game called Up.
Oh,
Or
really?
something only Up or something like that. And yeah, it was like this game where you have to get up the top of this thing. You have to do it in one go. There's no checkpoints, so you have to do it. If you fall, then you've got to start all the way from the beginning. And it became popular with streamers because obviously it was really frustrating and people used to have big reactions to it.
Yeah.
Looks like someone's just taken that and then quickly just knocked up something as fast as they can to copy it for
Oh,
VR.
okay.
It don't.
This
But
trailer makes it look so much better than it is in practice.
the trailer makes it look like it could be quite fun,
Yeah.
but if you say it's janky, then yeah, I think it sounds like they've just knocked something up quickly to try and copy that.
Yeah. Yeah, so these are basically trailer homes or something, and there's an eviction notice that you have to get to, and you have to destroy the eviction notice, and that's how you complete each level.
Right.
But just good luck just climbing, because just climbing was hard. Like if you think, like some people think, like Bone Lab or Bone Works, just climbing is too bouncy and too janky. Well, you haven't seen anything until you try this game. So
Yeah.
Try it at your own
Good.
risk. All right. So the next game, this was a demo, a free demo, System Critical 2. I tried this because it's listed as coming out in September as a new game. So I was just like, oh, it's an FPS. Let me try it. Uh,
All right.
it's an okay FPS. I was like, while I was playing it, I was like, well, I would much rather play, for example, a Medieval VR
Yeah.
than I would this. This is very indie. Like, I don't know. They keep changing scenes in this trailer. I guess to
I know
make
the trailer's
it
really annoying.
to make it seem maybe more exciting. It's not. It's not that exciting. I mean, you can tell it's probably one guy making it when you're playing it.
It looks like kind of like a retro boomer shooter type thing in VR. Um, where you're
Yeah,
just running through corridors trying to kill things as fast as you can.
yeah. It might be worth it if it's really cheap, but if it's anywhere near like $20, no way. From
Yeah.
what I played of the demo. So I think that's all I have to say about that one. Then another. I mean, I bought so many indie VR games in recent
Yeah.
month. Paranormal Detective Escape from the 90s. There's also Paranormal Detective Escape from the 80s. That was I thought that was a pretty good like escape room game. This is another escape room game, same dev, and it's just more 90s themes. So there's lots of 90s references, and the first you start out in that office, and then you go into this arcade. Obviously, I love arcades, so that's what got
Yeah.
me to buy it. I was like, oh, there's an arcade, oh, I gotta buy that. But like, it looked like he was moving the flippers on that pinball machine. I couldn't get the pinball machine to work. I don't know, maybe there was something I missed. And most of the arcade games you couldn't play. There was one called like Bomb It where you could play it, and you could play the basketball, you could do the skee ball. Oh, and there's ice hockey or no, air hockey. I think this air hockey was the best game in the arcade
Right.
because they have AI that actually plays against you, and the AI is pretty good. That skee ball is terrible. Oh, and there's cranes, the crane game. So
Yeah.
you have to use a lot of those arcade games to get like in the crane, for example. There's something in the crane machine that you have to pull out. That's like a clue. Stuff like that. Oh, and skee ball, you had to do skee ball and get a certain score to get a clue. So I got past the arcade and I'm in another room and I haven't finished it yet. It's actually kind of hard as far as
Right.
VR escape rooms. Like this one's, I had to use the hint system to help me get through it, and maybe I was a little bit impatient.
So would you recommend it?
Yeah, I got it on sale. It was on sale. It was I don't know. It might have been $8. Yeah, I would recommend it if you like escape rooms, and if
Quite cool.
you were a kid in the '90s. The '80s one
Oh, I
had
might have to give
like
it
the
a go.
Power Glove, and it had other stuff like that from the '80s.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Next, Madrid Noir. This was on sale. This is it's one of those kind of cinematic experiences where you mostly just sit down and watch, but you can also do some interactive stuff where you see here you're picking stuff up. He's putting this film reel on, and there are scenes where you have to maybe pass things to the character on screen, or there's scenes where you're using a flashlight to illuminate things.
Right.
But there's no locomotion or anything. Mostly you're just watching a movie, and it's about your uncle who seems like he might be involved in crime, and you're trying to figure out why or like what he's up to. And I can't remember how long it was. It seemed kind of long. Like it might have been over 30 minutes. Might have been 45. I don't remember.
Is the story good?
Not to me.
Because if the
It
story's not good, then it's not much point watching a
Yeah,
movie like
it
that.
had good reviews. The story didn't do much for me. Um, like I didn't feel any emotion. Is what I would
Right.
say. So, but it was on sale. I don't know. Maybe it was $3. So it's not like it's a
Right.
big ask. Oh yeah, you see in this right here, he's picking up a gun and pointing it at her. Um, so at least there's an interaction and stuff.
Is it like what was that game called? That one in the walls or something? What, werewolves?
Oh, wolves in the walls.
Yeah.
You,
Is it like
you
kind of like
just you
that where?
just yeah, kind of like that. But I remember I only there were multiple parts to that one, and I only did the first part. I've been meaning to see the other ones. Did you see all of that?
Yeah, I played through it all. I thought it was pretty good.
That
He's had that good,
yeah.
a good amount of interactivity whilst
Mhm.
also engaging you in the story and stuff. I quite enjoyed it.
That one I think was more emotional. This isn't for me. This wasn't emotional. They tried to make some of this emotional, but I didn't feel any.
Right.
But they did attempt that. Whereas what I wanted to show, you've done this right? Age of Sail, Google Spotlight Stories, Age of Sail. I'm
Yeah,
sure you've
that's
done.
my best. That's the best one.
It
Yeah.
is. That's what
Is
I wanted to, in case anyone hasn't done this. This is free. It's on Steam. Age of Sail.
yeah. This
This
one
is.
did make me cry.
I was gonna same
Yeah, it was
thing.
pretty.
Same thing. I I've already watched this before multiple other times, and I right after I did Madrid Noir, I remembered I was thinking about Age of Sail and how much better that was. It's really short, but again, it
Yeah.
made me cry.
Yeah,
Every
it's really powerful. Like,
yeah,
yeah. It's
every
definitely the best one I've tried of that type.
and it's really short. Is it even 10 minutes? I don't even know.
Yeah, it's like 5 minutes or something. It's
Yeah,
really, it is like amazing what they can do in such a short amount of time. But incredible storytelling,
yeah,
really well done.
yeah.
It's all been done in tilt brush as well, so it's like it's all like kind of hand drawn, but
Hmm.
it's all animated. So it's like an animated. You're like in an animated cartoon or something. It's really impressive to see in VR.
Yeah, the only fault you could say is that the animation frame rate is low, but that's I guess that was intentional. You know, it's,
Yeah, that's the kind of style. It's kind of like a like a it's like an older kind of animation, from the older days where they before they used digital stuff, where they were hand drawing stuff, and that's basically how they did it. Like kind of like hand drew the people, and then kind of like moved, like hand drew each scene and then stitched it all together, sort of thing. So
yeah.
really impressive.
And it's probably the music. A lot of times, music is what makes me cry. So the music in this has got to be great. I mean,
Yeah,
like in movies, I think it's usually the music that somehow gets me. I don't know.
it's free as well. So Age of Sail, I definitely recommend picking that one up and giving it a try. If you've never tried any of these kind of like short stories in VR, this is definitely the one to give a try.
Definitely.
Um,
Yeah. All right. So, I think the next thing I was gonna say. Well, have you? Recent news is I don't know if you wanted to talk about this, but I put it in here anyway. The Unreal, the Unreal Engine VR injector. Uh,
yeah.
there's recently an update where it has room scale support. So almost every Unreal Engine game now has built-in room scale support. And have you tried that?
Yeah, I've tried the update. He's having some issues where it's crashing some games now where it didn't do it before, so he's gonna have to do some work on that. But he's been having a little bit of time off, just some personal problems. But yeah, the updates, it's one of them things where it's not gonna if you play seated and use stick turn, it's not gonna affect you. But if you like to play standing, um, and it makes a big difference because it's kind of like Hitman VR where that doesn't have room scale, so after a while you kind of become disconnected to your body and you have to reset the headset, reset the view a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of what you had to do with the injector as it was before, whereas now, because the body is following your head, it works really well. It doesn't turn the body, like, and you can do like head aiming, which obviously turns the body, and you can do something called read off controller aiming, which is where it's not full six stuff where you can move your hands in and out and stuff. But it's kind of like a laser pointer. So wherever your hand's kind of pointing, that's where the gun or the hand in the game will point. That works surprisingly well as well. It's definitely better than obviously using a thumbstick or mouse and keyboard. So you can turn body with that as well, but not every game supports that. So some games have got like a custom camera system, so they don't work. So it's going to vary depending on the game, whether you can like play full room scale and kind of turn your body. But a lot of games do work, and it works. You know, it's getting to the point now where it's getting closer and closer to feeling like a native VR, not just for one game, for hundreds of literally games made in Unreal Engine, which is pretty impressive.
Was this the main thing that he was trying to get accomplished before releasing it?
There's a few other bits and bobs, but yeah, these were the main things he wanted to get done. Cause it's still some games, like I said, they don't work with the controller aim or head aiming still. I think he did mention that now because he's got control of the pawn with the room scale, he might be able to get those to work as well. So that might be something we might be able to get, the majority of games working with
I
the
heard you
freed
say
off.
control of the porn.
Oh, PAWN. Not
Pawn?
not the other word. Pawn.
What does that
Yeah.
mean? Control of the pawn.
Um, that's what they call in the Unreal Engine. That's what they call like the main character. That you've got like these
Oh.
preset. So your pawn is. Uh, I keep saying
Oh,
pawn.
you know
You-
what? This is funny because Gamertag VR on their
Yeah.
Crewcast thing, I don't know if you ever watch it, but multiple times he struggled with the word porn and pawn. He can't like say it properly or
Oh,
he sounds like he's
well,
saying porn every time he says pawn, I think is the issue.
that's how we pronounce it though. That's the thing. Like we pronounce them the same. So like pawn on a chess piece, like
Yeah.
on a chess board, and pawn.
It,
To us they sound the same.
yeah, yeah. Okay.
Uh, whereas you guys say, what? How did you say it?
Porn?
Pawn. Which
Porn.
one's that?
Yeah, porn like corn. Corn. Can you say corn?
Right. Pawn.
Say corn.
Pawn.
Wait. Say corn?
Pawn.
Okay. And now say porn.
Pawn.
Now say pawn.
Pawn.
Okay. Sounded a little different. All right. Yeah,
Pawn.
we say
Pawn.
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 Porn. Maybe it's easier for us to do with an American accent.
Pawn.
I don't know.
Pawn. I don't know.
Yeah, all right. Enough of that.
Sounds the same to me.
Yeah. It's very close. So I guess we're done with that. Let me see. We have upcoming games. Oh, there's one more thing I wanted to say. There's a Resident Evil humble bundle where you can get Resident Evil 0 through 8, but not the RE4 remake. All the other ones are the remakes, but I wish the RE4 remake was in there. That's the only Resident Evil game I don't have. And then you get both of the Revelations games, but those don't have a VR mod. And then you can also get 25% off Winter's Expansion DLC, and all of this is for $35. So if you don't have those games, go get that. We already, because Resident Evil 2 Remake, 3 Remake, and Resident Evil 7 and 8 are all supported by Prey Dog's mod, so you can have full motion controls in all of those games, and they're all awesome.
Yeah, it's like less than £10 a game, which is really cheap. So an absolute bargain for
Oh,
all four of those
if
games.
you're only talking about those games, but then you're getting all those other ones too.
Yeah, I mean the others. I don't know if people are going to play the others. Like in the Revelations, like the online thing. I can't remember what.
No, that's not online.
Is it not?
No, you're thinking of Reverse.
Oh, Reverse. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. I am.
So there's Revelations 1 and 2. I played Revelations on my 3DS, and that was pretty good. I never played the other one. But
They need to remake Dino Crisis. That's what they need to do.
yeah, they do. You're right. Maybe they will.
That's what I don't. Now they've done 4. Maybe that's what they should do, because imagine that with modern day graphics and playing that in VR. It would be really cool.
It would
With
sell really
dinosaurs.
well, I think.
Anything with dinosaurs sells well.
Yeah.
People love dinosaurs.
Yeah.
They released that new thing with dinosaurs in it. What's it called? I can't remember the name of it. It's like some sort of Left 4 Dead type thing, but you just got dinosaurs everywhere.
Is it
Yeah,
out? It's already out?
It's out now. Yeah, people when it was revealed at first, people thought it was going to be No Crysis because it's Capcom and it's obviously got dinosaurs in it, and then it was just some other thing. So
How is there a
I
Capcom
feel
game with dinosaurs and I don't know what it is?
I can't remember the name of it. It's just come out as well, only like a week or so ago.
Hmm. All right. And that Winter's expansion, I was looking online. Somebody did do a video of that in VR, so I assume it works with the mod.
Third person,
Third
wasn't it?
person though, yeah. But it was weird. I only saw one
Yeah.
video. Like you'd think more people would have done it, but
Yeah, I think people
it
lost
had mixed
interest in it.
reviews on Steam, so maybe people aren't too interested.
Yeah, 'cause it's quite expensive. If that's with it, then that's a pretty good deal because the
It's
Winter's
20,
expansion
yeah,
is
20,
20. Yeah,
tw-
$20.
no,
Yeah.
but it's only a 25% off coupon.
Oh,
Yeah.
so you don't get it with the bundle.
Nope.
See,
Yeah.
that's not worth it then.
No. So upcoming games, I expect you to die 3. Let me get that trailer. I'm having issues. Here it is. I expect you to die 3. That comes out on August 17th for Quest, but it comes out September 28th on Steam. And I don't think it's coming to PSVR 2. I guess that'll be later.
Yeah, they'll bring it. They'll bring it
Yeah,
out as
eventually.
well.
Definitely. So
Maybe they'll bring out a full package with the 3 of them for PSVR 2 or something.
yeah. And yeah, I mean, I'll definitely get this. Even though you're just seated in one spot, they're always good games. I do kind of wish they
I
would
do
add
like them.
some. Kind of wish they'd add some kind of locomotion, but I don't know.
I'm not bothered about that. I just think the hand interaction was a bit. It needs updating because it still feels like an early game,
Yeah.
like with the way that the controls work. But the level designs are really fun. Like I like the second game, but I found some of the levels were really. There's one level in particular where I just did not have a clue what it wanted me to do. I had to look it up, and after I was like, how the hell was I supposed to know to do that? It was
Hmm.
just such a. Because obviously these games are trial and error where you're literally having to repeatedly try different things out
Yeah.
to figure out the order that the game wants you to do it in. After a while, it can be frustrating when you don't know what you're supposed to be doing. You're constantly just redoing it and dying over and over again.
Did you try that like Space Station DLC of the first one?
Yeah, I did that as well. Yeah,
I
that's pretty good.
never finished that one. I didn't know what the hell they wanted me to do, and I didn't look it up. Did you finish that one?
I did it. I finished it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Without looking it up?
Yeah, the only ones I got stuck on with in the second game. The first ones I didn't manage to do, but there was that one, and there was another one in the second one.
The boardroom?
Was it
Oh, the second room. Oh, the second one. I can't even remember if I had to look it up.
the
for
one
the
where you're
second
in
one.
with all the lasers coming at you and stuff? If you
The
can remember
laser.
it, where you're in the office, and then the office isn't what you think it is, and then there's cameras and stuff. I don't want to spoil it for people, but got stuck on that level for a while.
Oh yeah, I remember. You're in a. You mean the one where you're in a? Well, there's one where you're in a basement, like a wine cellar. That I
That's
remember
the one I
getting.
got stuck on.
Yeah, I got stuck in there too.
Yeah, that's the one that I had to look up because I
Okay.
just could not get past it.
Yeah.
But then there was another one I got stuck on as well with you're sat in the office, and then the office ends up not being the office, and then you've got like cameras pointed at you, and you're in like a studio, like a film
Oh
studio
yeah,
area. Like,
that one somehow I
was
managed to figure out, but
I struggled with
the
that one.
ones that you figured out on the first game, I did not figure out. Yeah.
It's one of the things where you get stuck on one part of it, and if you can't figure it out, you just get stuck.
Yeah.
Whereas if you can figure it out and get past it, then you're good to go. But yeah, I can't wait to play that. I can play it. Feels like we've had a good start to the year, and then we've had like this middle part where there's not been really much.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that.
The fall, there's gonna be a lot coming out. Like, remember that like Quest showcase and the Sony. Like, there's a bunch of games that are coming out in the fall or late 2023 that are coming out to both, like Steam and
Yeah,
Quest.
I
There'll
hope
be a
so
lot.
because
Yeah.
it's been a bit dry.
Yeah. All right. So the next game is Firewall Ultra, which you and I won't get to play. That comes out August 24th for PSVR 2. And I had Firewall, the original with the aim controller for PSVR 1.
Yeah.
And it looked great, but I didn't like. most people say they love the aim controller. I never did like it because I had to. It would keep drifting, and it just
I
wouldn't.
remember seeing.
God,
If you see footage, you see people like shaking the controllers
yeah, you had to
because the
keep shaking
controllers
it.
constantly drift. Yeah,
Yeah,
what a. It was such a shit system, really,
yeah.
when you think about it.
And then the lobbies sucked. You'd be in the lobby for so long waiting for a match, and yeah. So hopefully this one's better than that.
Yeah.
But when it first comes out, there's not going to be manual reload. It's going to be button press reload. I don't know at what point they're going to add the manual.
Do you remember that game they brought out for the Quest? Is it called Souls?
Solaris
Yeah,
offworld
yeah, yeah,
combat or something. Was
yeah. Because that game came out and they didn't even have two-handed. Like, you'd have weapons, but the weapon would just be the right hand. So like, you'd have a fake hand holding the gun at the front, and then your left hand wasn't even doing anything. So they've been so used to making games for like the aim control and stuff.
Yeah.
They just didn't know how to make games for two controllers. So I'm curious to see how this is going to be, whether they've managed to finally, because they did obviously do updates to try and fix all these issues, but it just always blows my mind when developers, who are obviously quite big developers, who, I mean, they've got experience in VR, they release a game that's just missing so many basic things, like having two hands in a game.
I think
Like literally
Larcenauts
not.
had a similar issue.
Yeah, that had like auto reloads and stuff like that, where the hands. Yeah, it's just one of them things where developers just develop in a bubble and then release a game, and then they get surprised when people are like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah.
Um, Hitman VR is another one.
Yeah. So another game like Firewall coming out is Crossfire Sierra Squad. That comes out August 29th for Steam and PSVR 2.
This looks really good.
Yeah, it
I'm
does.
concerned that this is going to be a similar thing where it's going to be like basic stuff, but I think even that, I think as long as it's fun, I think I'll enjoy it because it looks visually impressive. It looks like it's got a lot of content. Like there's a single player campaign. There's like solo missions that you can play co-op. There's co-op missions and
Oh, I
stuff.
didn't know there's a single player campaign.
Yeah, there's a
Mm.
proper campaign you play through, and then there's like these challenge missions, and then there's like co-op missions you can play through. So yeah, it looks like it's gonna have lots of content. The graphics look good. Like everything, like the gunplay looks satisfying from what I've seen. Like the way the enemies react and the guns and everything look powerful.
Mm-hmm.
I think this could be really good.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it's good.
Yeah. So what's the next one?
Actually, I need to contact them. But
Okay.
anyway,
Yupitergrad 2. This already came out for Pico Neo. I think it's already out for Quest also, but
yeah, it's on Quest already.
it comes out on Steam on September 7th.
What are the
And
reviews like?
I don't I don't know what the Steam reviews are like, but I think like maybe Upload the review wasn't so great.
Yeah, look
And
at Quest.
remember when we had Simplex on, I think his review wasn't that great of it. I think he said there's so
Yeah,
many areas where it's just there's nothing and it's just like padding. And I
they
think
released it quite quick between the two games. Like the Quest. Oh, what's it called?
is this a Polish
Quest.
developer? Did he say that? I can't
Yeah, it
remember.
is. Yeah, yeah. It's a Polish developer.
Okay.
Ooh.
Well, I like the first one a lot, even though it was short. So
I like the first one, but it was short. Yeah.
yeah, I'll probably get it. So then Toss. This comes out September 7th. It's by Vertigo, or published or produced by Vertigo Games.
Oh, it's got good ratings on Steam. Jupitergrad's got
Yupitergrad 2
got
does?
like it's got nearly 5 stars
You said on
on
Steam.
Quest. Sorry,
Oh, okay.
Quest 2.
So this game
Yeah,
Toss is like a parkour climbing thing. Probably not for us. It looks more kiddie.
I played a demo of this because it's been in development for quite a long time.
How was the demo?
I thought it was all right.
Oh, okay.
It kind of it's like a assault course type of thing where you've got to just try and get to the other side of the level.
What word
And
did you
press a
say?
assault course.
Salt cost? What?
Assault course, like a
What the
course.
hell is that?
We have them in this country.
What does that
Like where
mean?
you've got
Wait,
a
another word I've never heard. Wait, salt course?
assault
Assault. Oh,
assault course.
assault course. I don't think I've ever heard that before. Okay.
It's like, do you know when these people do these trials where they gotta go
Like Ninja
unless
Warrior?
an art, yeah, like the army have them where it's
Oh,
called an
okay.
assault course where they have to go over the net and then go under crawl underneath the thing.
Yeah, okay.
It's kind of like that, but you're up in the air and you've got to
Hmm.
like fling
What's
yourself across obstacles.
I'm trying to think of what the American term is for that, but I don't even know. I don't even know.
I don't know. I always thought they were the same name.
I've never
You
heard
guys
that
call them.
before. I don't know. All right, so Hellsweeper VR. I played the demo of this. Let me turn this tossed off. I played the demo of this, and I thought it looked really good when I was doing the tutorial and stuff. But once I got into the actual level, once I got into the actual level, I was less impressed, and it was very enclosed. Like, they're not actual levels that you progress through. It's just a small arena,
Arenas.
and
Yeah.
it's just a wave of enemies basically, and you just kill them all. And when I played,
It's disappointing.
it was only the first level. It was way too easy. And I got to the final boss of the first level, and it was a massive boss. It was impressive, and then it's like demo over before I got to even fight the thing.
Oh,
But okay,
it looks cool.
it is cool, and you can even summon a hellhound to fight with you, which is cool. And there's all these different ways to fight. Like you could use magic, or you could use guns, or you could use swords, and you could use that hellhound to attack enemies. And there's all sorts of. Okay, so this is by the Sirento developers. So it's very
Yeah.
similar to Sirento. So there's all sorts of crazy movement. You can do all that side wall running and crazy flipping around shit. But one thing I didn't ever like about Sirento is that you're just enclosed in an arena fighting waves of enemies. It's just not my thing. Oh, that's that big giant
The boss.
boss.
Yeah.
That was what I got to, and then it's a demo over. Yeah.
Yeah. It could be cool. I'm interested in it.
Yeah. I don't. It might only be single player. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
Okay. And well, I already showed System Critical 2. That comes out September 23rd. And I think that's it. Do you have any games you can think of that are coming out?
No, not in the near future. I
Okay.
think the main one for me is Crossfire. That's the main thing I'm looking forward to. When I Expect You to Die 3.
Yeah.
They're the two that I want to play the most.
Yeah, so Crossfire's August 29th, and I Expect You to Die 3 is September 28th on Steam. August 17th on Quest. So that's it. Wait, any mods coming out soon? Well, the Far Cry one could come out with motion controls any day, I guess.
He did say it's going to take a while, but it sounds like he's obviously working on it a lot, so maybe that will be soon. Portal 2 is getting a mod, which is in development.
That's
Been in
coming out
development for a
soon?
while. It could be. Looks pretty complete, so
Oh, yeah.
it's,
The latest Luke Ross mod was Uncharted 4, A Thief's End, and Uncharted The Lost Legacy. I don't know how the performance is on those, but you can play it in first person. I already beat that game on PS4, so I'm not that motivated to play it. I don't know. You know how that Rift Apart game? What is it called? What's that Rift Apart game
Ratchet
called?
and Clank.
Yeah, Ratchet and Clank. That came out recently, so that'll probably get a VR mod soon. I'm betting that'll be a Luke Ross mod.
I've never been a fan of Luke Ross mods.
Yeah, because of the alternate eye rendering issue, right?
Performance and
Yeah.
visuals as well. Like I tried Spider-Man with it, and it looked so blurry and just not good.
Mm-hmm.
Performance was terrible, and
I guess
that's something I'm going to spend money on again because you buy it for a month and then try it, and you can't get a refund or anything. So
yeah. All right.
Right.
Anything else?
Oh, I think that's it.
All right. Well, thanks for listening.
Thank you, everybody.
Dickheads.